everyone, welcome to the Art Workshop. My name is Christopher Epling. On behalf of Pike TV, we thank you for tuning in today. We have a very interesting program for you in start. So we're going to start off by talking a little bit about the concept behind it. So inanimate objects, turning those into animated objects. A lot of animators and cartoonists, what they'll do is they'll take something that you don't think would be a character, like a plastic spoon, and turn that into a moving, talking, animated character. Now in comics it works similar too. You take an inanimate object and you would turn that into a character, but it's in still frames, of course, panel by panel, page by page, or in a children's book, page by page, literally. So how do we do that? How do we take just a simple household object and turn that into an animated character? We're going to try that out today. Now, most of our concept that we're thinking about today is going to be something you would never assume to be a character, but this has been referenced throughout so many different movies, so many different books, in terms of taking a standard household object and turning it into a character. So we're going to think today about a cup. So everyone knows what a coffee cup looks like. Everyone knows what a coffee cup should look like anyway. We're going to start off by sketching it out, and we're going to talk a little bit about how then to turn that into from just a standard cup into a moving character. Well, what looks like moving character anyway, as close as we can get on paper. So I like to talk about materials a little bit before I start always. Today, simple, simple, simple. All you really need is paper. You need a good pencil. You're going to need an eraser. Of course, you're going to need something to sharpen it with. And then maybe at the end, if we want to, we can ink it with something. So you don't really necessarily need a felt pen or a brush pen, but a ballpoint pen would work. Anything that you can use to put ink down over top of your graphite. Let's start out by playing around a little bit with the concept. So just take a piece of paper, okay, get settled in, get comfortable, get your pencil, and I want you to follow along step by step with me. We're going to sketch out first just making a general cup. How do we draw a cup? So we're going to start out at the top. You're going to draw, the best you can, an oval, okay, just a simple oval. Now you've probably done this in middle school or elementary school where you've connected the lines together and made another shape, make it look 3D. So we're going to add two lines coming down the sides, and then look here, the bottom, I'm going to add another oval. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so that kind of looks like a cup now, except we do need a handle. So on the back of your cup, throw a handle in there, right? Now what we can do is we have to decide which lines we want to get rid of. So the cup could be oriented in a way where you could see down inside of it. In that case, you would erase this line, or you can reverse that and get rid of this line here, and the cup then will, or this line here, I'm sorry, and the cup will be looking like we're looking up from the bottom. So I think what I would like to do in this case is that. I'm going to get rid of this line here, all together. Now you can kind of see how that looks like we're looking at a cup from here's the bottom of the cup here. And we're looking up. You can have stuff spilling out of the cup if you wanted, but that gives the idea that's a cup, right? So now how do we turn this cup into an animated object? So grab another piece of paper out this time. We're going to do the same thing we just did. This time we're going to add a few more details to it, okay? So first start out at the top with your oval. Okay, once you have your oval down, this time you're going to come down on the side, but watch what we're going to do. We're going to bend this just a little bit. It's going to be a little bit of a bend in here. See that? A little bit of a bend. Same thing on this side. Come down. This time go out a little bit. Out. Then we're going to seal it off at the bottom. Instead of making another oval, we're just going to seal this one off like this. And it kind of resembles a cup, a very, very poorly made cup, if you want, but that's what we want. With animation, we start bending the lines and contouring things and making things less symmetric in terms of like a solid shape. but in more palatable, more malleable, I should say, or however the word I'm looking for here, a way to bend it literally on the page. So we want that bending happening because what that does is it helps to establish motion that's not there. There's movement happening. So we're going to add our handle in the back. We're going to make another line like this going down. The top has a little bit of a spot there, and then you also have inside of the handle. So this will all be darkened in later. Like that, okay? So now we have a handle, we have our cup. Now how do we add a face onto this or something to make it look more animated? Well, we're going to first start out by drawing a line coming down the center. It's got a little bit of a bend to it, like that, okay? Now watch what I'm going to do here too. I'm going to add a line coming around this way, around the cup too. Now why did I do that? Well, I want to know where the middle portion of this side of the cup is for the face, and I want to also know the middle portion going upwards of where the line will be for the nose. So this cross section right here tells me where the nose is going to be, but I need to go in and add features now to it. So how do I do that? Well, the first thing I want to do, at the top of your cup, you're going to add a parallel line running right around the rim. This makes it look a little thicker, like that. That's the first step. Now, moving down into the face, we'll start out on this side. You're going to draw an eyebrow here. Think of Beauty and the Beast. There's a lot of cups and dishes and things that come to life in that movie. And so how do those animators turn a simple cup into a character? Well, that's what we're going to try to figure out today. And on this side as well. All right, got the eyebrows down. Now let's work on the actual eyes themselves. Before we do that, we're going to work on the nose because the nose is going to separate the eyes. You're going to get rid of these lines here down the middle of the cup in a minute, but for right now though, it comes down. Like that, okay? Then the eyes. I'm going to move on this side first. I'm going to draw a line like this, and you're going to bring it down, and then here as well. Bring it in. There's one eye. The second eye, of course, is going to be a little bit over here to the side. It'll be a little bit harder to see, a little bit harder to draw too. But you can do it if you just take your time and make simple shapes. Now so far we have a nose, and we have two eyes, and we have an eyebrow. We need a mouth now for our character. So I'm going to start over here. I'm going to bring it down, up, and stop there. Then a line coming down, stopping here. Put a tongue in there. There we go. Now this will all be darkened in. We're also going to shade it in a minute too. We're going to put some detail in there for the light and stuff. Now, so far it looks more animated than the first cup we drew, but this side, this line right here needs to be something needs to be happening with it. So on this side, you can see how there's a bend right here with the cheek. So the cup has some elasticity to it. So on the other side, we want to put a little bit more detail. So we're going to add a little cheekbone, coming out, down, and then down at the bottom, curve it around. So adding that little tiny feature right there is going to help put so much more animation into the drawing. Now the eye. You're going to draw a circle, inside of it another circle, and then shade that in, and then you're going to do the same thing on this side. Circle, another circle, shade that in. Now, if you're following along with me at home, and I hope you are, we would love to see what you created. And you can do that really easy by sending it to us at packtv99@gmail. And when you do, please include your name, a little bit about yourself. Tell us, are you a student? Where do you go to school? As much detail and less detail as you want is fine, but we just really want to see your work. So now we're going to add a little bit of some more features around the top. So this could be a coffee cup. So we've got coffee sort of spilling out. Now how to show motion. This thing is, of course, moving. It's on paper. But if you come up to the top and you were to add some splash lines, like this, a couple more up here maybe, it makes it feel that the cup has either slid to where it's at, or is moving, or there's action being happening. And that's a hard thing to do when you're working with 2D art. Now we can get rid of the lines that we used originally, those first lines. Remember the lines that came down the face, down the center of the face? We get rid of those now, if you can. I had to press down a little bit hard so you could see it, so it might take a little bit of elbow grease getting this out. That works pretty good. And so you can see it now a little bit better that way. Let's see if I can't get this off here a little bit better. There we go. Now let's throw some shading in. So we'll start just like we did over here on the handle, but we're going to start up inside the cup up here. You turn your pencil on its side so you can get more graphite hitting the paper, and you're going to throw in some shadows around the edge of this cup here, right here. You're going to do the same thing on this side. Darken that in a little bit. Now animators, once they get done penciling a character, and let's say we're designing this character for a movie or something, what they'll do is they'll, of course, draw it out in pencil first, sketch it out, put in the detail like we're doing now, and they go back over it with ink. And that ink, basically that ink just sort of captures all the lines we want to keep. And then we can erase the lines we don't, right? So let's go ahead and put a little bit more shadow in the mouth here. And then we can add a little bit more shadow maybe down the side of the cup here. Remember, you've got to consider where your light source is coming in from. In this case, my light source, pretend that there's a lamp right here. There's our lamp. So you know where your light source is coming in from this way, right? So in that case, all of this side back here is going to be darkened in a little bit more, right? It's further away from the light source. Like this. Maybe bring it down a little bit to the bottom. There might be a little bit of shadow here behind the eye. And this just makes it look a little bit more 3D, a little less 2D. Bridge of the nose a little bit. Under the nose, of course. There we go. Now let's ink it just a little bit. I'm going to grab my ink pen out, and I'm going to trace over the lines I want to keep now. Just the lines I'm keeping. I'm using a brush pen. Brush pens are good for movement because depending on how much pressure you put down on the pen, you get a variation of line width. So if you want a real thick line, you just press down harder, that sort of thing. You don't have to have a brush pen to follow along at home though. Like I said, you could use a ballpoint pen, a felt pen, whatever you've got there. All right, and we're going to go in here and put a little bit more final line work on this coffee spilling out. You can make the coffee black if you wanted to. This could be milk, who knows. Now we're keeping these lines over top of everything we want to keep. But you can see now we've taken a standard, basic, inanimate object that you can find in just about any kitchen in America, in the world, a cup, right? And we've turned that into now something that looks animated. It looks like it could be a character in a movie, maybe. But it's finished now. So this is the job of animators. This is what they do all day long, is they'll work on a project, on a movie or a book, or artists working on books and artists working on illustrators and graphic designers and things like that. Their job sometimes is just to take an object like a cup and turn that into something that looks like it's moving. There we go. You got to always remember to sign your name to your work. Now, in terms of showing animation, I would like to sketch something out for you that is similar to what we've been doing here, but a little bit different. So we're going to be looking at just a person this time. So we're going to take this off for a second, and you can follow along with me at home if you want on this. If you have a chance to do it, I'd really like for you to. So we're going to start out with just a circle. Now I'm just going to turn this ball into something that looks like a human being. Try to anyway, right? Okay, face coming down. So here's that center line. But here, instead of, I'm going to draw a chin on this person like this. So this person is actually an older lady, and we're going to do an animation still of her. That's a go, okay? So I'm working on the eyes now, and you can see kind of how fast I'm drawing this, but I just want to sketch it out for you to see how this would work if you're working with a human being too, okay? Simple shapes that come together to form something that otherwise wouldn't be there unless you worked it like a piece of clay. So see how now I started out with a circle, and that circle now is being bent and turned into something different. Started as a simple shape, and now here we are with something that looks like a human head. And that's the magic of art. And then a little bit of a bun up here. All right, bring the hair back down this way. Now you can start to see how it starts to form. Now, we want to finish it up with the eyes, so jump back up in here in the middle. Here's one eye. The other eye. Nose comes down like this. The mouth is here. Got the chin. Her jaws. Her jowls. And then shoulders. She's going to be sort of hunched over a little bit, right? So something like that. Her eyebrows way up here. And then, once we get to this point, throw glasses on her. Big rim glasses. As we get older, we have to wear glasses. I'm now wearing glasses full time, so it's been a little bit of a little bit of a change for me, but I'm getting used to it. All right, and then back to the ear. And there we go. We took a simple circle, transforming that into this character. Now, of course, all these lines that we started out with that are now all over our page, we can get rid of those really easy if we just ink this and then erase. So let's start out by just going over it with the ink pen. I know I went through that pretty fast, but my goal was just to show you an example of turning this circle into a human head and a cup into what would be an animated character possibly in a movie or an animation, right? And that's the fun, one of the fun things about art is just taking these simple shapes and seeing what you can do with them. Does it always pan out? No, it doesn't always pan out. Sometimes you'll work on something and come out of it and be like, well, okay, it didn't turn out exactly the way I thought it would. But the goal with art, I think, when it comes to feeling like you've not succeeded at what you're trying to do, is you have to keep on working at it, just like with anything. There's no magic formula to it. It just takes time. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of dedication to it. But once you do that, you'll find yourself getting more and more equipped to handle certain drawings than before. All right, we almost got the inking done on this. I always miss something though. I don't know what it's going to be here, but I'll miss something, I promise. The eye. Here, okay. Mouth, chin, jaw. We about got it. Neck. Now, hopefully this is dried, because if it hasn't, what's going to happen right here in a second, is I'm going to be making a lot of smearing. Now, once that dries, hopefully it has, you go back over it like this, and you're going to get rid of all your pencil lines. So it looks as if you just sat down with an ink pen and drew something, but in reality, it took you a lot of time preparing it, sketching out things, molding those things. There we go. So you can see how it kind of turns out. Remember I said that I always miss something? I did right here. I missed the chin. So, I mean not the chin, but the glasses right here. So there we go. Always put your name to your work, remember that. But as you can see now, we had this circle that we started out with. We took that circle, we bent it, manipulated it, and turned it into something totally different. Just like with the cup when we started out. So we started out with this basic shape that we did, and then we took that shape, bent it, transformed it, moved it around into something different. And then of course, we ended up with this as well, where we took the cup then, and not only did we bend it, but we also added some features to it to give it more life, so that it looks like it's almost alive. So I hope you've had a good time following along today. I hope that you've enjoyed the show, and hope that you created something that you'd like to share with us, because we'd love to see it. Now, if you want to see other past shows that we've done, this is really important too. There are a ton, over 100 episodes of the Art Workshop. How do you find all those? It's real simple. Go to YouTube, search for Pike TV 99, click on the playlist, and you'll see the Art Workshop. Under that, you'll find all sorts of techniques, all sorts of different subject matters we focus on, and everywhere from using pastels to watercolor to ink to Copic markers, everything in the world. So check out our playlist, please, if you have time. It would be great. So I hope you enjoyed today's show. I have. Animation's amazing. It's so cool to turn something you wouldn't think would be a character into a character. And it's really simple to do. Just simple lines. Take your time. Build it up from the base. Remember to ink it, then erase it. Okay? All right. Well, thank you for tuning in. Again, on behalf of PAC TV and the Art Workshop, I'm Christopher Epling. And always remember, keep drawing.